Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner, and this is stage 20, Giro d'Italia. Exciting stage today, 164 kilometers, just under 105 miles in length. Man, it is a beautiful stage. The first half is flat. The second half is mountainous, and we're talking about massive climbs. The first climb, San Bernardino, 23 kilometers in length at just over 6%. It's a difficult climb, and we're talking about these guys are going to be on this climb for about an hour. So it's a huge effort for everyone in the field, especially the guys whose legs are suffering on today's stage. Now, the beginning, it's crazy technical because they're around the lakes there in Italy. They're narrow, they're twisty, and there's road furniture everywhere. It's not like one of the other stages where you start and the first half is flat, but it's wide, safe roads, and you can just relax back there. Riders have to stay attentive throughout the first part of this course, or you're never going to make it to the finish of the Giro d'Italia this year. So when the racing gets going, it takes about 30K for a break of 9 to go up the road. Simone Palou, my old teammate, is in there, and he's going to pick up some more kilometers to give him the prize of the most time spent in the break at this 3 weeks of this Giro d'Italia. Two other guys, important guys to pay attention to in the break. Giovanni Visconti is in there. He's an Italian rider. Keep that in mind because that'll play. And Luis Vervacchi is in there, the Alpecin Phoenix rider. Both these two guys will play a big part in this particular race. Now, when they hit the San Bernardino climb, before that, you had Trek Segafredo chasing because they had missed the move. You had Deceuninck Quickstep again riding all out for Almeida to try to be able to win the stage. And Bike Exchange back there riding for Simon Yates. When they hit the climb, they'll go halfway up the climb with that mixture until DSM get on the front and start driving it like crazy. That's when we start seeing guys getting popped off the back left and right, and DSM is reeling in the breakaway of 9 riders. That break had exploded all over the place going up this climb. At one point in time, there was just 2 at front. Then there was 4 at front. Then all of a sudden they're going over because Simone Palou got back on just at the top there, and they're going over with 5 guys strong, but they only have a minute lead. Backside of the first climb, technical. Every descent on this particular stage is crazy. Both the first and second is just switchbacks and just requires massive bike handling skills to be able to get down in the front of the group that you're with. Now, the breakaway goes down, but DSM just blew the race up, and as they go over the top, it's 3, Chris Hamilton, Bardet, and Michael Storer that's there. And Chris Hamilton is just tearing up the descent, and he gets a gap on all of the GC favorites with his DSM2 riders attached to his wheel. Just behind them, Bahrain victorious, second on general classification, Damiano Caruso is there with his teammate Pello Bilbao, and they're doing a fabulous job of trying to bridge up to the DSM3 riders that are just in front of them. Behind, it's Ineos under control, but they got to go slower because Danny Martinez, he just can't descend to save his life on today's stage. We saw him have problems yesterday, and again, he's having problems today. We know Egan Bernal can descend, so I would assume they're waiting for Martinez back there. They'll wait, and that will change the whole face of this particular race. When they get down to the bottom, they got a gap of about 30 seconds. The front DSM train there will catch the breakaway guys, and the 2 victorious riders, they'll catch on too, and now we got some chemistry happening. Ineos back there, they're in trouble. Filippo Ganna is not there. We've seen him throughout this Giro, always there on the front at these crucial moments from the beginning into the middle, almost into the end of these stages at the Giro. Now, I gotta believe they're saving his legs for tomorrow's TT, and they probably gave him the day off thinking that they wouldn't need his power when they're riding so good. So without Filippo Ganna there, now you gotta ride Moscon and Puccio throughout the valley there, and that's gonna have some effect on their legs, and we're gonna lose those guys quick. Up front, I told you to keep an eye on Giovanni Visconti because he's Italian. Now, Damiano Caruso is Italian, and we saw it yesterday, stage 19. There was some Colombian love being given between UAE Team Emirates and Ineos, and now we got another team switching it up. Now you have Visconti there, and he's riding the front for his Italian friend, Damiano Caruso, I'm sure. He has no intentions of going to the finish of this particular race, and he's going to ride these 10 kilometers through the valley here all the way to the penultimate climb starts, 100% all out. And that is what's starting to put the nails in the Ineos train behind. They'll lose Gianni Moscon and they'll lose Salvatore Puccio. They're left with Jess Narvaez there on the front pulling when the climb starts. He'll get about halfway up the penultimate climb before he blows. And now it's Jonathan Castroviljejo's job to do a lot of work. You're asking a big amount of effort out of one rider, and he's doing a stellar job. He's holding those guys around 30, 40, 45 seconds there as they crest the top of the penultimate climb. Now the problem is the roads have gotten wet and nasty, and I already told you the technical descents are absolutely hair-raising. Now in the rain, you know it's going to get crazy. Up front, Pello Bilbao is just dicing up the descent down there for Damiano Caruso to keep as much time as he can on Ineos. Back in the Ineos train, Jonathan Castroviljejo is doing an amazing job solo on the front for Egan Bernal, but they're losing Danny Martinez because the boy just cannot descend to save his life. You'll see at one point in time, Jonathan Castroviljejo is looking back because Danny Martinez had to get on the radio and tell him to slow down because he opened another gap on him again. Now, when the last climb starts, this thing is an absolute beast of a climb. 7 kilometers in length. They're calling it about 7%. This thing is actually about 10 when it's going up. You have 1K in there that's a little bit false flat. Hairpin turns there, and you know it's got to be 10% when you start seeing hairpin turns. Behind, Martinez had to take over the front from the bottom of the climb all the way to the top in order to save this pink jersey, or Egan Bernal is going to be isolated with Yates back there, Vlasov, Hugh Carthy, and Almeida there to attack him like we saw at yesterday's stage. Up front, Pello Bilbao did an amazing job before he pulls off. Damiano Caruso gives him a pat on the back, and now Damiano Caruso, 33 years old, with no wins on his resume at this level of racing, has now got to come through with the goods. Personally, I always love this moment when everybody was done, they did an amazing job, and now it was time to go to work. Damiano Caruso will just be amazing. Put his head down and start just riding as hard as he can on the front. He has Romain Bardet on his wheel. Bardet will do a little bit of work occasionally, but for the most part, it's almost 100% Damiano Caruso up there pulling against Danny Martinez back there with Egan Bernal. Martinez is doing an amazing job as the favorites back there with Almeida is coming off, and then he'll chase back on. We'll see Hugh Carthy get popped. Alexander Vlasov will go. Simon Yates will get popped with about 2 kilometers to go, and it's just the 2 Ineos riders with 1K to go. Danny Martinez pulls off and has nothing left in his legs, and it's Egan Bernal now that has to take the front and do damage control to keep second place Damiano Caruso's time gap as small and limited as possible. Caruso's up there just giving everything he can all the way to the finish to take a spectacular stage 20 victory, his first major victory at this level and at the Giro d'Italia, and gaining time on Egan Bernal before tomorrow's crucial time trial of 30 kilometers. Egan Bernal suffers and gets second on the stage, only losing just around 23 seconds back there. Danny Martinez rode so well, he finished third on the stage. Simon Yates' chance at the pink jersey victory on tomorrow's TT stage wiped out as he'll lose over 50 seconds. Hugh Carthy lost time. Alexander Vlasov lost time back there. Just absolutely chaos throughout today's stage. A beautiful, exciting stage to watch. Now, I want to go back after the first descent and through that valley before the penultimate climb started because I left something out there. Bike Exchange, who I'm sure sitting in the meeting before today's stage, said they want the racing as hard as it could be on Ineos. They want total chaos. They want to isolate Egan Bernal. Now, Bahrain victorious with Damiano Caruso and DSM with Bardet up there have put that pressure all over the Ineos guys. They do not have Filippo Ganna there to control everything and bring and wrap it all back up into a pretty package like we're used to seeing. Now they're left with Salvatore Puccio. They're in damage control, And Bike Exchange puts a guy on the front to help Ineos back there riding. Absolutely crazy. In my book, I would have never put them on the front. Every time when we see this in big Grand Tour races, you know Simon Yates' Bike Exchange team said they wanted this. They wanted Ineos under threat, in danger, put the pressure on their team. Now it's happening, and what do Bike Exchange do? They throw a guy on the front for 10K through that valley to help the Ineos train and help their leaders. What happens if they don't throw him on there? The gap's a little bit bigger. Now all of a sudden, Martinez has to go harder up the last climb, and then Simon Yates is left with an isolated Egan Bernal. Instead, they got the scenario they wanted, but they just blew it when they put guys on the front. That was the mistake I seen, and the knucklehead mistake I saw out of Bike Exchange on today's stage of the Giro. Go back and watch that. That part was pretty exciting. Hope you guys liked the butterfly effect on today's stage. It was an amazing stage. The time trial now for Egan Bernal has gotten a little bit tighter after losing those 20-25 seconds there to Damiano Caruso. So we got still some drama on the 30K TT tomorrow. If Egan Bernal's legs aren't that great and Damiano Caruso has an amazing amount of form on tomorrow's stage, he's got a chance at the pink jersey. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys real soon.